All right, ready to dive in. This time, we're tackling your notes on The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
It's funny, when you said you want to do a deep dive on this one, I have to admit I was a little hesitant. Another self-help book.
Right. Like, how much more good vibes only can we handle?
Exactly. But Canfield, he surprised me. It's not just about feeling good, though. It's big on that. It's about having a plan,
Yeah.
actually doing something with all that positive energy.
And that's where he really shines. He gives you those concrete steps, and he starts right off the bat with this idea of taking 100% responsibility for your life.
Which, okay, I'll be honest, at first glance, it sounds a little intense,
Well, a
right?
bit. Like, wait, everything. Even the things I have absolutely zero control over.
And that's the thing, it's not about playing the blame game. It's about realizing that even when things happen, things completely outside of our control, and believe me, we've all had a few of those lately, the power lies in how we choose to respond.
So it's not about saying, this is my fault. It's more about saying, okay, this is happening. What am I going to do about it?
Exactly. Canfield has this quote, and it really stuck with me. He says, "Everything you experience today is the result of choices you have made in the past."
Whoa, that's kind of a big one, isn't it?
It is, but when you think about it, it's also incredibly empowering. We have this incredible ability to shape our future by the choices we make starting right now.
It's like taking back the reins, right?
Yeah.
You're not a passenger on this ride. You're the one in the driver's seat.
Exactly. And speaking of taking control, Canfield talks a lot about the power of our thoughts. And he doesn't stop there. It's about our visualizations and our actions too. They all have to work together.
Okay, so break that down for me. How do these three things, thoughts, visualizations, actions, how do they all connect to create
All
success?
right, picture this. You're constantly thinking negative thoughts. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. You know the drill.
Oh, believe me, I think we all know that drill a little too well.
Yeah. Right. Now, those thoughts, they fuel your emotions, which then dictate your actions. So if you're feeling doubtful, insecure, what are you going to do? You're probably not going to go out there and crush your goals, are you?
Probably not. So where does the visualization piece come in?
That's where things get really interesting. Canfield says that when you vividly visualize your goals, and I'm not just talking about daydreaming here, I mean, really feeling the emotions of achieving those goals, you're essentially giving your subconscious mind a target to aim for.
It's like programming your internal GPS for success.
Exactly. And he ties this into the law of attraction. What you focus on, you attract more of.
So if you're constantly focused on what you don't want, you're more likely to get more of that.
It's a bit of a scary thought, isn't it?
It is. But on the flip side, if you're focusing on your desires, on what you do want to achieve, you're opening yourself up to those possibilities.
Exactly. It all comes back to mindset. Canfield gives you the tools to shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. But, and here's the catch, none of it works unless you're willing to take action.
And that's where a lot of us get tripped up, right? Because taking action, especially when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, it can be scary.
Absolutely. Canfield talks a lot about this idea of embracing fear. He doesn't say to ignore it, he actually says to lean into it.
So it's not about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
Exactly. He has this great quote. He says, "Everything you want is on the other side of fear." Which, okay, easier said than done, right? But he also acknowledges that failure is a part of the process.
Oh, for sure. In fact, I remember reading about how he got rejected over 100 times before he found a publisher for Chicken Soup for the Soul.
144 rejections. Can you imagine?
That's insane. Most people would have given up after 10, let alone 144.
Exactly. But that's what sets successful people apart. They see failure not as an ending point, but as a stepping stone.
All about perspective, isn't it?
It really is. And sometimes, even with the best mindset, even when we're willing to face our fears and embrace the possibility of failure, we still need a little help along the way. And that's where Canfield's emphasis on building a success team comes in. He's a firm believer that achieving your goals is rarely a solo mission.
So it's like having your own personal cheering section. People who believe in you, support your vision, and maybe give you a little nudge when you need it.
Exactly. And it's not just about having your best friend or your mom in your corner, although they can definitely be a part of it. Canfield encourages you to seek out mentors, coaches, peers who are also striving for success.
It's like assembling a board of advisors for your life. People who can offer guidance, support, and maybe a little tough love when you need it.
Precisely. And the more diverse your success team, the richer your experience will be. Because everyone brings something different to the table, right? Their own unique experiences, insights, even their energy can be contagious.
I love that. It's like surrounding yourself with possibility. And speaking of learning from others, Canfield talks about the importance of modeling success. What exactly does that mean? It sounds a little like, I don't know, copying someone else's homework.
Not at all. It's more about recognizing that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who've already achieved what you're striving for, and they've left clues along the way.
Okay, so it's more like studying the game tape, learning from the best.
Exactly. Canfield encourages you to identify your role models in business, relationships, any area of life where you want to see growth. Then it's about studying their habits, their mindsets, even their failures. Because remember, those are just stepping stones.
So you're saying instead of being afraid to make mistakes, we should be looking for those mistakes, those learning moments, as part of the process.
Absolutely. Canfield has this great line. He says, success leaves clues. And it's our job to find those clues, to decipher them, and then apply them to our own lives.
It's like a shortcut to success, or at least a roadmap to get us headed in the right direction.
Precisely. And speaking of getting on the right path, Canfield is really big on developing what he calls a success mindset around money.
Oh, money. Now that's a topic that can bring up a lot of different emotions for people.
You're telling me. It's often a source of stress, anxiety, even fear. But Canfield, he has this really refreshing perspective. He believes that many of us are holding ourselves back financially because of limiting beliefs we have about money.
Okay, so it's not just about budgeting or investing, it's about examining our thoughts and beliefs about money. Those deep down subconscious beliefs that we might not even be aware of.
Exactly. He says that our thoughts create our reality, and this is especially true when it comes to our finances. If we're constantly telling ourselves, I'll never be rich, or money is the root of all evil, guess what? We're probably right.
It's like we're setting ourselves up for failure before we even begin.
Precisely. So how do we shift those limiting beliefs? Canfield suggests a few different strategies, like practicing gratitude for the money we already have, even if it's not a lot, and surrounding ourselves with people who have a healthy relationship with money, people who are generous and abundant.
Because let's be honest, who you spend time with, their energy, their mindset, it rubs off on you, right?
100%. And speaking of things that can rub off on us, Canfield also talks about the importance of managing that inner critic, that voice of self-doubt that loves to pipe up, especially when it comes to things like money.
Oh, that inner critic. I feel like we all know that voice a little too well.
Oh, trust me, we all have one. But Canfield gives us some great tools for dealing with it. One technique I really like is what he calls flipping the script.
Flipping the script. Tell me more about that.
So let's say you catch yourself thinking, ugh, I'm terrible with money. I'm never going to be able to retire. Canfield would encourage you to flick that script to something more empowering, like, I am committed to learning how to manage my money effectively, and I am creating a future where I am financially secure.
It's about shifting from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance, even when it comes to something as seemingly daunting as money.
Exactly. It all comes back to taking 100% responsibility, not just for our actions, but for our thoughts and beliefs as well.
It's about recognizing that we have more control than we often give ourselves credit for. But even with the best mindset, even when we've got our success team assembled and we're ready to take action, life happens, right? Things don't always go according to plan. So how does Canfield suggest we handle those inevitable setbacks and challenges?
Well, the good news is Canfield's a realist. He knows we can't just positive think our way out of every challenge.
Because let's be honest, sometimes life throws you a curveball, or maybe even a whole bunch of curveballs all at once.
Exactly. And in those moments, it's easy to feel defeated, to want to just give up. But Canfield, he wants us to see those setbacks not as failures, but as feedback.
So it's about changing our perspective, looking for the lesson in the struggle.
Exactly. He says, remember, every expert was once a beginner. So those stumbles, those setbacks, they're not a sign that we're doing it wrong. They're just part of the learning process.
I love that. It's like give yourself permission to mess up, to not be perfect, because that's how we learn and grow.
Precisely. And one of the best ways to bounce back from those setbacks, to build resilience, is by celebrating our wins, no matter how small.
Because sometimes it's easy to get so focused on what we haven't accomplished yet that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come.
Absolutely. And that ties into another one of Canfield's key principles: commit to constant and never-ending improvement. He's all about continuous growth, always striving to be a little bit better today than we were yesterday.
It's that growth mindset, right? Always learning, always evolving, always pushing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. And one really practical way he suggests we do that is by making time for personal development, things like reading, taking courses, even just having conversations like this one.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, to let those things fall by the wayside, but they're so important.
They really are. And Canfield's a big believer that even small, consistent actions in the direction of our goals can lead to big results over time.
So it's about playing the long game, trusting the process, and celebrating every step along the way.
You got it. And speaking of taking action, Canfield has a lot of great advice when it comes to achieving success in the workplace. He's all about taking initiative, going above and beyond, being a problem solver.
Because nobody wants to be that person,
Yeah.
right? The one who's always complaining, always pointing fingers, never offering solutions.
Exactly. Canfield wants us to be the ones who are stepping up, taking ownership, making things happen.
Be the change you want to see, right?
Exactly. And part of that is building strong relationships, not just with our colleagues, but with our clients, even our competitors. Because at the end of the day, business is about people.
It's about collaboration, connection, creating win-win situations whenever possible.
You got it. Canfield's big on the idea that success isn't a zero-sum game. There's enough abundance to go around for everyone.
And when we can shift our mindset from competition to collaboration, everyone benefits.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the success principles, I think it's important to remember that Canfield's not just talking about external achievements, he's also really focused on helping us create a life that feels fulfilling, a life of purpose.
Because at the end of the day, what's the point of achieving all those goals if we're not happy on the inside?
Precisely. So as we leave this conversation and move forward, I think it's important to remember Canfield's words. He often says, "The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be."
I love that. It's such a powerful reminder that we have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, and in doing so, we shape our own destiny. We are not defined by our past mistakes, by our current circumstances, or by the limitations others may try to place on us.
Exactly. We have the power within us to create the life we want, to achieve our goals, to live a life that is both successful and fulfilling.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. We hope you found this conversation insightful and empowering. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination, and we're all in this together. So keep learning, keep growing, keep taking action, and most importantly, never stop believing in yourself.